Well, my editing skills are crap, but can the same thing be said about Star Wars The Force Awakens? Stick around and find out. Alright. So, you've seen this movie by now. If you haven't, don't watch this video, because I'm going to talk all spoilery about it. I waited to see this movie actually until like some of the fan craziness died down, because I just wanted to try and enjoy it as a film for whatever it was trying to do for me. And I've been to really energetic premieres before where people are dressing up and they're waving lightsabers around, and I'm like, okay, can you settle down? I'm real happy for you. I just want to enjoy the movie. So I waited until today to see Star Wars The Force Awakens. Where are my thoughts here? Here we go. So, I'm Peter Franson from ChristianGeekCentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions. This is my uncut review of Star Wars The Force Awakens. I'm not even going to bother with the synopsis because I'm assuming, again, that you've seen this. Turn back now to avoid huge spoilers. Now, first off, I'm not a fan of Star Wars movies anymore. I used to love them when I was a kid, and I tried to love the prequels. These days, I just like more serious sci-fi rather than, like, say, fun adventure sci-fi, you know? Also, visual effects aren't enough for me. I need to feel like my heroes are having great difficulty, even if they always come out on top. I don't need them to be tortured and for it to be super dark, but I need to feel that they are in conflict. I need to feel that they're making choices that are difficult for them to make. I need to feel them counting the cost. I also like to have character-driven stories with characters who change over time. They don't necessarily need to grow. Maybe like Breaking Bad, they can go to a darker and darker place over time. But I really want them to kind of change and grow over time if possible. So let's, with that in mind and my preferences in mind, let's talk about the story, the script, the pacing. The dialogue feels like a modern take on Star Wars. Some more modern types of expressions and ways of speaking and inflections, and it's really nice. Nice character interactions, but not too much like, you know, on the modern side of things. Not too much injected there to make it feel. I think it will probably still remain timeless in that regard. There's plenty of action. I never felt like, boy, when are we going to get to the explosions and the lasers and stuff like that? You know, there's plenty of that going on. It seemed to be missing a ton of backstory. They only hinted at the Leia Han troubled relationship history, which I guess had been going on for years. Only a few sentences describe their son, who I guess his name is Ben. That's what Han Solo calls him, but he's called Kylo Ren for the rest of the movie. They only a few sentences describe their son training under and then betraying Luke Skywalker. Kylo Ren then killing his father, Han Solo, could have had so much more impact on me if I'd seen more history of that family, or had it told to me somehow and expressed somehow in the story. And so it was a missed opportunity there, really. Han Solo is given screen time that I think could have been given to Poe, the Resistance pilot, or Rey. And Rey developed some Force abilities, but not much complexity to her character. I would have liked to understand more about her longing and what she wanted and what she lost and her history and stuff like that. It was just hinted at with some flashbacks and stuff, and I feel like they're trying to keep her origins a mystery for the sake of, maybe fan speculation. Is she Luke's daughter, or what's going on there? That's what it seems to be, is that she's probably Luke's daughter, but we don't know. But I mean, I would have liked to be spoiled a little bit on her background so that I could appreciate what she wants a little bit more, what she's lost, where she came from, where she is now, and where she wants to be. I wanted to understand more of that so I could feel something more about her journey and what she was trying to achieve. I also would have liked Poe to be given more screen time. He's such a charismatic character, and I wanted to see his friendship with Finn develop a whole lot more, and I felt like time was taken away from that so that we could give more time to Han Solo. Now, don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed Harrison Ford's performance. I was really taken aback at, like, wow, he is really Han Solo here. I mean, I was seeing things in his performance that were distinct from, say, a similar character that he's played, like Indiana Jones, I was like, wow, he's doing some very, like, Han type things. It's amazing that he could pick it up after so many years and be so Han, you know. And he had some great lines, and so I really enjoyed his performance. It's not that I was like, oh, get this guy out of the way. I was enjoying what he was doing. But I mean, to give him time, you have to sacrifice something else, and I think it was some character development and some backstory that could have been given to other characters. Kylo Ren also apparently only wears his helmet now and then when he feels like being mysterious, since once it came off, it was off quite a bit, and there didn't seem to be rhyme or reason for when he would keep it on and when he would keep it off. So that was just kind of, I don't know, a little bit strange. Minor thing, I suppose. Despite wishing for more Leia, Han, Kylo, that family backstory to help Han's death pay off more, I'm fine with Han dying. For me, it's going to sound callous, but the sooner we get the old cast out of the way, the sooner we can be done with fan service and focus time more economically on telling the best story possible. You know, I mean, they could have gone the route of doing a new movie with full focus on the old cast and just gradual introductions of new cast over the course of a trilogy, and I think I would have been okay with that. Even better would have been for them to fast forward 300 years and feature all new cast, maybe from the Skywalker lineage if they want, but fast forward 300 years, all new cast, zero old cast. That would have been even better for my tastes. But trying to service fans of the old cast and introduce new cast, it means, I think, sacrificing character and story. Maybe not enough to bother most folks, but it left me wanting more. And this movie was close to, I think, 2.5 hours long, and I still felt like, oh man, there wasn't enough time to do some of the things I wanted to see them do with these characters. I also thought there was a little bit of Superman Returns syndrome, where they repeated some elements of previous Star Wars stories that didn't need to be repeated, maybe out of a desire to kind of honor and reflect in some way the original movies. I don't know. But, you know, we've got essentially another Death Star. Oh, but this one's bigger and badder. It can destroy 5 planets at a time instead of just one, and the climax once again comes down to X-Wings flying into it and hitting a weak spot to destroy it, you know. Now, it was all shown to me in a very cool, compelling way. I love the visual updates, not just of the effects, but just of the design of things. I just loved the way this movie looked, and the world felt that much more like tangible and lived in, and you know, I felt even more like this was a world that exists somewhere out there. I felt that more in this Star Wars movie than any Star Wars movie prior to this by far, especially the blue screen heavy prequels, but you know, I don't think anybody's going to argue with me on that. I think that that Lucas gave us a cool universe with a great mashup of ideas, but I'm waiting for the movies to go in just a different direction, maybe a wildly different direction, telling new stories with new characters. You know, playing Knights of the Old Republic is by far the best Star Wars experience I've had in my life, and to this day, no Star Wars movie has come close to matching that for me. Regarding the cast, this is a great cast. I could relate to all of the characters through their performances, mostly new faces, and all of them, I think, stronger than the original cast was when A New Hope released in theaters, and maybe more importantly, you know, maybe this isn't an issue of the ability of the original cast, but they're aiming for a more emotionally realistic tone in this film than they were in the original films. And so these actors are really able to just cut loose and kind of bring their skills to bear, and I just really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed their performances. John Williams is back doing the score. He did a fine job, but you know, I'm ready to be done with the old character themes. It felt a bit like da 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 da. Remember this person, remember this old story, you know. And you know, I like the opening titles. I think, you know, they ought to keep that, but I would like a strong, for one example would be a strong new and recognizable theme for the dark side. You know, I don't want the Imperial March, but maybe something new that's kind of recognizable, you know. Yeah, anyway, I mean, honestly, I would like the Star Wars universe to go in a totally different direction, have a totally different filmmaking style, do away with the wipes, do away with all these strong character themes and stuff, and, you know, get Hans Zimmer or somebody in there. I don't know. You know, I'm ready for like a totally new, rebooted take, new continuity on Star Wars. That's what I really would have wanted, but I don't know. Nobody else wants that, so be glad I'm not in charge. So let's see here. What's going on in terms of like philosophical themes or moral themes? Is there anything in here that's likely to stimulate, thought or conversation on moral or philosophical issues? Star Wars movies are usually pretty good for that, but not much not much in this movie, I think, lends itself to like automatically talking or thinking about those issues. I think if you're the type of person that is looking for those kinds of themes and wanting to think and talk about those things, you're going to find stuff in this, but you could do that with almost any movie, you know. But I don't think this one's naturally going to lead people to be thinking or talking about philosophical or moral concepts. The previous films often made philosophical statements about reality that were inspired by Eastern philosophy. Now, we've still got the idea of, you know, like, follow your feelings and your feelings will guide you, which is like terrible advice for living your life, by the way. And then we've still got this idea of the Force encompassing good and evil, and I think there was some hints at the idea that like good and evil are equal opposing forces, whereas in biblical theology, evil is not equal in power to or scope to God. That God is one day actually going to destroy evil and put an end to evil. And so it's not this eternal struggle that's always going to go on between good and evil. And that's really what we have presented in the Star Wars movies. And I could do a whole video on how strange the concept is of why we would want or value a balance between good and evil. Why in the world do we want balance between good and evil? Why do we want any evil? Anyway, I could do a video on that in the future. Let me know if that would interest you, and I'll give that some priority. Anyway, largely in this movie, it seems like a generic struggle between good and evil. There's not a whole lot of, like, you know, claims or truth claims or ideas being presented about the Force and the philosophy driving it. The themes are there, but, you know, if you're not looking to think or talk about them, then you probably won't, I don't think. So, if I were a time traveler, because I have no idea what your tastes are, I'd go back in time and tell myself, Pater, wait for Redbox on this one. Wait a minute, never mind. Go see it. Fork out the cash if you don't want to be spoiled, because you'll never make it to Redbox without somebody telling you about the spoilers in this movie. So, you know, it's good. It's a good movie, but it's not super engaging. That said, I think if you're a Star Wars fan, you specifically are excited about Star Wars, this is possibly the best Star Wars movie ever made. At least when you just, you know, compare the past films to today's filmmaking standards. I don't think that it's as groundbreaking today as the original Star Wars A New Hope was, but I think, like, if you set it up to current standards next to all the other Star Wars movies, I think this is probably the best Star Wars movie ever made. But I mean, for my tastes, that means it's good, but, you know, not super engaging. It's PG-13 for action, sci-fi, and violence. I don't like numbers, but if you do, how about a quality score of 8.0 out of 10? That's like a B letter grade, and a relevance score of 6.5 out of 10. That's like a D. You're not likely to really talk about much or think about much, I think, on those grounds. That's it. Oh, I forgot to use this sign, but I'll remember this one. Boom! Those are my thoughts. I'd love to get yours in the comments below. Am I totally off base here? By the way, if you love this movie, I am happy for you. And I don't think it's a bad movie. And I don't think you have poor taste if you are totally gonzo for this movie. It's just where I'm coming from, just my taste I'm sharing with you here. So yeah, this thing here, you can, I do want your comments below, by the way. Oh, this is a terrible sequence. I should edit these, but I don't because they're uncut. You can support this channel by visiting spiritblade.com and seeing what we're up to there, or visiting christiangeekcentral.com, which I hope you'll do soon. This is a terrible video. Content, community, all kinds of stuff there. Hope you join us there soon as we continue to geek out and seek the truth. All right, I'm going on Christmas vacation. Bye-bye.